Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at Occultic 9, Episode 7. Now, I do apologize guys and girls again. I have these reviews up so late. Yesterday I got back real late at night. I was gone for like the whole morning. After 9 o'clock I wasn't even in my apartment. So I got back I think around 6 o'clock at night and I immediately passed out for like an hour nap because I was just so exhausted. And then I had to do, various other things. So I was unable to do any reviews yesterday. But hopefully we'll be able to get at everything today. March comes out like a lion. I might save for tomorrow because tomorrow's my slower day since I got Trickster. I can't review Trickster anymore, so I'm going to probably put March comes out like a lion tomorrow. I'm not really expecting a lot of people to review that, but hopefully you guys do watch it because I want to talk about that episode also. But I will definitely have a Zeta and Occultic 9 out today. I will have Aoni out later today as well. So, Occultic 9 Episode 7 was very interesting. I'll just say that right off the bat. In many ways, I think of this episode almost as a three-arc concept, where we have the beginning arc being the question arc. As we saw last episode, we saw that several of the characters, heard their names on the radio, or TV, excuse me. And when they heard their names on the TV, they thought they were part of the deceased that went into the lake, which is very interesting because they feel like they're alive. They are walking around. We see them. It seems like other people can see them also. And they start beginning to question things. They're like, well, can people see us? Who can see us? Are people that do see us dead also? Or do they have some abilities that let them see the dead, etc.? Now, there was a moment of this where I was kind of afraid for this episode because it was very boring in the very beginning part. Like, there was a lot of scientific talk, and I'm not saying that I don't know science to a point, but when it goes too far beyond the realms of my understanding, even I have to say it's a little bit over my intelligence level. So I did feel a little bit of it could have been explained a little bit better, but it was very boring when they had, I think it was, I want to say the one guy with the glasses, I always forget his name off the top of my head, he was talking to the one girl that was a journalist, and they were talking with one another in the room, and I was like, whoa, you guys are just losing me left and right, I'll be honest with you. And what's funny is Yuta also kind of walked away from all that. He's like, yeah, no, I'm going to go focus on this stuff over here. Then the second arc is very interesting, which is, I want to focus on this arc the most, and the Revelation arc also, because there's some very big revelations to the other end of this episode that made this show kind of pique my interest again. So this girl in the middle of the screen has a very unique ability. I forgot her name off the top of my head. I think it was like Mama Toro or something like that, or I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but I believe it started with an M, so I have that. So we'll call her M for now. Okay, that's what we're going to do. M over here has a very unique ability where she could touch objects, including people, and actually see the history behind them by touching them, and goes to like this metaphorical space that almost looks like a movie theater where she's sitting now watching a giant projection screen of the past that's related to the object. And she looks at a book in the very beginning of this, and she looks at a book that shows what happened to the detective, which apparently the detective also was one of the people that died. So now we know that the detective at least died, even though we see him as alive, and even though apparently the detective also knows he's dead, which I'm going to get into in a second also. But we know he's dead. So most likely the other cast of characters are also dead. They heard their names on the radio for a reason. They are dead. But she sees that apparently there was a radio station he was investigating also as well. She wants to figure out what had to do with the people that died in the lake. She wants to know their backgrounds and all that. So what's interesting is we also see the detective show up in one scene by himself, realizing that he's most likely dead. He's like, oh man, I didn't want to die that way. I wanted to die some cool way that was awesome and not, so lame and generic. And I guess I got tricked into, following them all into the lake somehow. So, I'm very curious why they all went to the lake to kind of do a mass suicide. But what I like about that was he said Elsai Kangaroo. And what's very interesting about that is Steins Gate fans everywhere must have been like, oh shit, Steins Gate. Because that's one thing that Okabe used to always say when he used to have the phone in his hand. He used to go Elsai Kangaroo. So I'm very curious, like, why did he say that? It's interesting, we don't really know per se who he's actually talking to. I'm very curious who he's talking to, because a lot of times with a lot of Steins Gate World stuff, they always have some character from one of the other shows appear. So I'm not saying it could be someone from Steins Gate, but we do have an idea that it supposedly is supposed to be in the same universe as Steins Gate. So I'm very curious who that person is he's talking to now. Then I want to say the final arc of this is the Revelation arc. This is the big deal arc. This is where everything happens that I think changes the show like that. It changes it on the snap of a finger. And honestly, it was very interesting where we see the morgue. And at the morgue, she's touching all the dead bodies and stuff and seeing that she can't hear the noises, which is very strange for her. Apparently, she can hear noises and hear sounds, but for some reason, when she's touching these people that died into the lake, she can't hear what's what happened to them beforehand. So all she's hearing is silence, which is weird. Not even grasshoppers or anything around it. It's just pure silence. All of a sudden, too, a radio goes off near one of the morgues, and she goes over to it, and you don't see the face of the person, but she touches the head, and she has this very interesting revelation where she sees nothing. It's all blank. And she's like, what the hell? Why is it all blank? And then all of a sudden, Yuta comes in, and he's walking to the body, and he sees, of course, himself. So he is dead. We now know Yuta is officially dead, and she was surprised by it, so most likely she could see him by her powers or whatever. So we now know it looks like our main cast of characters. We have the occult, like we have the one that causes the curses. She's dead. We have the all the people that live inside that little cafe place. They're all dead. Yuta, of course, also is dead. And we have most likely the journalist also is dead. The detective's dead as well. So why though? And why are they still around? Why are they able to be seen by people and not by others? Very curious about that. Anyways, very interesting episode. Kind of piqued my interest for the show again. Hopefully, it continues going upward, not downward anymore. Because I want the show to keep rising up to kind of make it better. I mean, it's still gonna. I hate to say it, even if it does amazing things with the show, I'm always gonna have to give it a lower score because of how long it took to get to this point of like awesomeness. But right now, it's at least steadily getting better. Anyways, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video. You know the whole nine. I will talk to you all later. Have a blessed, blessed day, everyone. Bye bye.